Hello, this is the 49th lecture of the Semantic SEO course, and in this lecture we will look at how we actually balance the contextual coverage and how we actually flow the context according to the queries. So as I said before, there is a reason that we actually put the symptoms here, not directed to this area or to this area. So in this case, actually, after the definition, we directly mention the symptom, but when you look at here, actually, symptom is a little bit at the bottom part. So the purpose here is that actually giving the most important symptom, the main symptom directly inside our introductory part and targeting this area. But most of the heading from this part to this part, most of the heading actually is about or similar to the other section. And that's why we use this specific synonym phrase to be able to relevant to both part a little bit. And once you give the main symptom, then we go to the reasons, the effects, and also some certain types of results. So in this part, actually, effects are also here. And at the same time, we go again to the calculation and the definition of the water intake or excessive amount of water intake as well. And we talk about the health dangers and the health effects one more time. Then we go back to the symptoms and we expand it even further. So the purpose here is actually being relevant to this specific context or this specific context vector as much as possible. But before doing that, we also want to especially rank for this specific question template or the question query. They're also called explicit question queries. We want to rank for that especially, and that's why we use the representatives of that question. We try to use H3 and H4 here because we don't want to go so deep for these questions, and directly we want to give the weight especially to this list definition and listing to be able to get a proper featured snippet from this area or from this specific heading list. And while decreasing the contextual weight of these two extra questions, we are trying to increase the relevance of these specific questions since they are similar or the variations of the question in our H1. Then we ask directly this question, and from there we give all these specific explanations. The reason that the article methodologies in this area are not that much detailed is because of that, because we don't want to actually add too much weight to them. So basically, when you look at our specific web page, let's say here we actually have a web page like this, and basically here we ask a macro context question, then we use its variations, and then we actually go to the symptoms like this, which is our actual the main section. Then we go to the supplementary areas with internal links, and again we focus on the treatments at the bottom to stay in the same context one more time. So the coverage that we give in this part and the order of these contextual domains, they are actually determining our overall relevance to this query network. And while doing that, if you look at here, it's just gender age. Here we tell just give a paragraph, harms and effects should be described briefly. And in this part, we just use a Boolean question and start our answer by telling yes or no. Then here, one more rule. Preceding question for the second paragraph and the answer, which means that when you ask the question of are there dangerous effects of drinking excessive water, and you will need to tell yes, there are dangerous effects of the drinking excessive water. These are XYZ. Then we ask the same question. Can it be fatal? Yes, it is dangerous, but is it also fatal? So the fatal section or the deadly section, it is important too, because that's is also used here. And in some of the research papers and the patents, I can tell that using a little bit more positive language, especially in the health content, it is helpful for the rankings. So instead of telling that if you drink excessive amount of water, you will be dead, you can try to tell that actually there is a fatal danger of the situation, etc. So if you are able to use a little bit more definitive, declarative, and positive language in the scientific articles, it will be helpful for further rankings. And after this specific preceding question and creating a second paragraph, then we go with a simple list definition and listing, which means that we will be using just this list with a simple definition for this specific phrase seconds. And then we are coming to the most important part. One more time, we start with a definition for all these things. Then when it can be seen, it should be answered. How frequently it can be seen and how to perceive it for ourselves or for our loved ones, and how to decrease the effect of the specific symptom. So basically, severity of the symptom, rarity of the symptom, commonality of the symptom, or the possible other interpretations of the symptom, frequency of the symptom. We try to use all the knowledge domain terms while explaining its definition and connection to the macro context. We define color of urine, then we explain it in the context of drinking too much water, and then we also give the health conditions, its rarity, commonality, severity, or frequency at the same time. Once we cover all these specific parts in a proper way, you will realize that every H2 that we are using and every H3 or H4s that are coming after that, this is like a sub-article already. And when you look at here, we have another summary. So this section is summarizing entire this area already. And this section, or let's say this part, is already giving a summarization of these specific subparts already. And when you look at here, this section gives the summary of only these sub roots of the subsections inside the article as well. So we have a kind of order here. And this is why actually search engines needed to create a passage ranking, because there are really quality passages, but they are coming from massive web pages. But if you don't have a massive web page, and at the same time, if you're able to protect the context in a proper way, you will always be ranking higher, whether it is coming from the Google Bard or the new Microsoft Bing search and the chat system. You will always be getting more clicks and the visibility. Thank you.